To flourish, Emerson believed, we must be nonconformists. If we think as others think and do as others do, we limit our potential and place our well-being or illness at the mercy of social forces beyond our control. Conformity, though often comfortable, comes at a price. To be a conformist is to shape our lives around the dominant norms, values, and ideals of society. It is to allow the constraints of culture to mold our identity. Most people fall into conformity without reflection, seeing that everyone else does the same, believing it to be the natural order. But this comes with a cost. As Emerson once declared in a lecture in 1844, I pay a destructive tax in my conformity. Every society favors certain character traits while disregarding or even vilifying others. In our time, extroversion is preferred over introversion, obedience over defiance, risk aversion over boldness. Some may find that their natural inclinations fit within these societal molds, but many do not. For those of us in the latter group, conformity is like wearing a mask designed for another face. It is uncomfortable, unnatural, and at times feels like an outright fraud. Conformity breeds waste, wasted time, wasted opportunities, wasted resources. In seeking to please others, to maintain appearances, we engage in activities that do not nourish us, speak words that do not reflect our beliefs, and acquire things we do not need. Emerson recognized this when he wrote, "Custom gives me no power from it, and yet it indebts me." We spend our incomes on 100 trifles, and not on the things of a man. Nearly all our expenditures are for conformity. But there is a more sinister danger in conformity, the danger of deception. In a society rife with falsehoods, conformity leads us astray. Politicians lie as naturally as they breathe. Our educational institutions propagate distorted histories and misguided doctrines. The media manipulates, corporations deceive, and we as individuals are expected to accept these untruths without question. When society is infected with lies, the path of conformity demands that we buy things we do not need, eat foods that harm us, obey figures of authority without question, and pursue careers that drain us of passion in favor of money or social standing. Even when we feel unfulfilled or anxious, the conformist solution is to numb ourselves with entertainment, with distractions, with pharmaceuticals. Emerson wrote in his essay, "Religion, all is well, so long as you follow the conformists. But you, who are an honest man in other respects, know that somewhere there is a man whose honesty extends to this point as well, who does not kneel before false gods. And on the day you find him, you will fall into the category of falsifications. If you accept a lie, you must accept all that belongs to it." To be a nonconformist today means rejecting these falsehoods, refusing to let them dictate our identity or our reality. This act of renunciation is not a loss, but a liberation. For as Emerson wrote, "The man who renounces finds himself." Breaking free from conformity allows us to reclaim our individuality. By shedding the artificial mask imposed by society, we embrace authenticity. But nonconformity is not just about rejecting what is false, it is about embracing what is true, what is meaningful. Simply abandoning the paths of conformity without forging a new one leads only to aimlessness and despair. We must replace the hollow ideals of the crowd with a new direction, a new purpose. We must cultivate our strengths, lean into our talents, and engage in pursuits that ignite our passions. Only in this way can we unlock our full potential. Emerson expressed this beautifully. There is a time in every man's education when he arrives at the conviction that although the wide universe is full of good, no kernel of nourishing corn can come to him but through his toil bestowed on that plot of ground which is given to him to till. The power which resides in him is new in nature, and none but he knows what that is which he can do, nor does he know until he has tried. For those of us who have been lost in the maze of conformity, who have been conditioned to accept the expectations of society without question, solitude can be a guiding force. In the quiet, away from the relentless chatter of others, we can rediscover who we truly are. As Emerson said, there are voices which we hear in solitude, but they grow faint and inaudible as we enter the world. Yet, while Emerson valued solitude, he did not advocate isolation. The nonconformist must learn to balance solitude with engagement in the world, to interact with society without losing oneself to it. To truly flourish, one must maintain both independence and connection. Solitude is impracticable and society fatal. We must keep our head in one and our hands in the other. The conditions are met if we maintain our independence but do not lose our sympathy. Many people recognize the sickness of modern society, yet few take the path of nonconformity. The primary obstacle? Fear. Fear of ridicule, fear of rejection, fear of standing alone. But this fear must be confronted, for only by overcoming it can we live authentically. As Emerson stated in Self-Reliance, "What I must do is all that concerns me, not what the people think." This rule, equally arduous in actual and intellectual life, may serve for the whole distinction between greatness and meanness. Embracing nonconformity is not just an act of self-liberation, it is an act of service to the world. By rejecting falsehoods and embracing authenticity, we become beacons of truth. Our very existence challenges the status quo, inspiring others to do the same. Emerson understood this deeply. A man will see his character emitted in the events that seem to befall him, but which emanate from him and accompany him. To conclude, in his essay, Circles, Emerson wrote, "In thought, there is a power to upend all the beliefs of nations and rectify toward a heaven that no epic dream has yet depicted. Each man is not so much a worker in the world as a suggestion of what he should be. Men walk as prophecies of the next era." If we dare to be nonconformists, if we dare to think for ourselves, act on our own convictions, and forge our own paths, we do not merely change our own lives, we set the foundation for a better world. Embrace the path of nonconformity, for it is the path to true freedom.